Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe. I do scary story times in October. I do story times as often as I can, and I do so much more, so thank you for subscribing if you do. Okay guys, so it is time for my third scary story time of the month of October. I've done two already, so if you haven't seen those, when this video is over, check those out. First one was, my scary babysitting story. Second one was a creepy lockdown horror story, what happened during a school lockdown. That was last week's, and now this is the third one about a creepy abandoned house and a creepy guy. So let's get started. So 2 years ago, I was freshly single. I had these two crazy relationships back in 2020. It was the height of the pandemic, and I was just like, you know what, let me just go on a fun little date. Me and him were planning on going out for weeks, and he was busy, and then when he wasn't busy, I was busy. I met him on Tinder, and we'll call him Zach. So Zach and me just kept, it was never right. It was been a few weeks. Like I said, he was busy, I was busy. Finally, it was Halloween night, and he tells me, hey, I'm free. I was gonna go to a party, but that fell through. Like, do you want to hang out on Halloween? I said, yeah, sure, I have no plans. So he came to pick me up. He said, oh, this can be our first date. I was like, okay, cool, why not? You guys know I love Halloween, so I thought, why not? So we ended up going, and I was like, so where are we going anyway? You never told me. He's like, it's a surprise. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I said, is it a scary surprise? Halloween night? He's like, well, it's a full moon. It might be a scary, frightful night. And I'm like, okay, well, let's not make it that scary. I mean... I'm like, what is it, a haunted house? He's like, sorta. So we go really far out of town, middle of nowhere, into the woods. And I'm just like, why are we in the woods? And he's like, it's part of the surprise, don't worry. And I'm like, well, I'm actually kind of worried because I just met you for the first time tonight. You're taking me all the way to the woods. What's happening? Like, I kind of need to know what's going on. He's like, oh my god, enough of the questions. I was like, okay. So we finally pull up to this weird, creepy, abandoned house. I call it a house. It was more like a large shack, but it was definitely abandoned. It was really, really creepy. Like, it looked like a bunch of homeless people were like living there, like during the day. Like, but no one was there when we were there. It was really creepy. There was like broken cots, and like, it kind of looked really bad. Like, it looked like a bunch of, like I said, homeless people were, like, living there, It looked really, really bad. Like, no shade or anything, but that's what it looked like. And I was just like, so, why would you take me here? He's like, I just wanted to be alone with you tonight. And I was like, okay. He's like, I'm a virgin. And I was like, oh, okay. Cool, good for you for waiting. He's like, yeah, and I want you to be my first. I was like, okay. We'll see what happens. I mean, it's the first date. I'm not going to give it up the first date, I'm not a hussy. He said, oh, come on. It's Halloween, and there's a full moon. I'm feeling frisky. Let's just get it on. And I was just like, oh, you're so funny. He's like, no, I'm serious. I'm like, oh. Ugh. I was like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. I was like, I'm not that kind of girl. I'm just not. So, he's like, you know what? This is fucked up. I bring you all the way out here, I'm expecting results. I'm like, results on what? So you paid for the gas, so I have to undo my bra? Like, what are you talking about? He's like, well, yeah, I mean, just get on that cot and let's just get it on. I was like, are you out of your mind? So then after I said, are you out of your mind, I heard this screaming. It was like a girl scream. It was like, ah! And it was pretty loud. And it was coming from in the woods. And I'm just like, what the hell was that? He's like, forget that. It's just you and me. I'm like, it's about to just be you because I'm about to get the hell out of here. So what was it screaming? He's like, it happens all the time. Just forget it. I was like, okay, not helping. You're creeping me out. There's screaming in the woods. It's dark. We're in an abandoned house. I'm scared. He's like, well, good. I'm like, what do you mean good? He's like, when girls are scared, they give it up. I'm like, okay, you're talking like a freaking predator. You're creeping me out. We need to go. He's like, you know what? Whatever. Then I hear more screaming. Louder. Closer. Ah! Oh my God! Ah! And I'm just like, what the hell? It sounds like someone's getting murdered. He's like, oh my God. Anything to distract from the conversation. I say, have you lost your mind? Some woman is screaming. Is she getting attacked? Should we call the police? And he's like, oh my God. You know what? Let's just go make out in my truck. I'm like, I'm not making out with you at all. This was a bad move. Like, I wanted to go to a haunted house or like a movie or something or dinner. Like, I don't want to go to some abandoned house in the middle of the woods. Like, that's not sexy. And you think I was going to give it up to you? Like, on the first date? I'm not a hoe. He's like, oh my God, you're just nagging. You're worse than a wife. And I'm like, no. You're worse than anything I've ever seen or been with. So he's like, okay, I'm taking you home. Forget this. I'm like, yeah, forget this. That's a good idea. So we get back in the truck. We hear more screaming. I'm just like, we need to call somebody. He's like, you know what? Forget it. She's fine. I'm like, she doesn't sound fine. She's screaming her head off. And then I hear more screams. I hear a guy scream next. Ah! I'm just like, what the hell? So he takes me home. I'm just like, those screams were really haunting me. Like, I think we should really call somebody. He's like, just get out of my car. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, just get out of my car. Like, I wanted to have sex tonight, and you ruined it. I'm like, okay. Just, no. I'm gonna go. He's like, yeah. I'm like, what do you mean, yeah? Ugh. So I get out of the car. I Google the place he took me. Ugh, what a sigh of relief. Apparently, half a mile on the other side of the woods is a haunted house, like, with, like, you know, people running around, screaming and stuff like that. A haunted house, a really big haunted house, and I totally forgot about that. But yeah, there's like a huge haunted house right there. So that's probably what the screaming was. I'm like, oh my God, thank God, because I literally thought someone was getting murdered. I was like, girl, what the hell's going on? So yeah, that's what the screaming was. And the guy was legit. He legit wanted to, like, lose his virginity to me in the freaking abandoned house. Yeah. I don't think so. Like, I don't think so. So, just beyond crazy. So, luckily, he wasn't that crazy because he didn't kill me or anything. Because, like, I was scared, like, he was going to kill me. I was like, girl, we're in the middle of the woods. Also, I didn't tell you guys, but I left my phone in his truck. So, I was like, crap. I couldn't even call anybody, even if, like, he attacked me. But thank God he didn't. Thank God. He was just a little pussy. Well, he was a pussy. He was a bit pushy. And, yeah. Anyway, so that was the creepy story time of the abandoned house, the first date that went crazy. But yeah, those screams were really scary because imagine, like, it was a full moon, but it was pitch black dark, middle of the woods, and then I hear all this screaming, and then he wants to, like, you know, put his bone in me. I'm like, and I don't think so. Yeah, so romantic. All this screaming outside, and I want to, like, have sex with you. In an abandoned house on a cot, on a rusty old cot. Yeah, that's definitely how I want to lose my virginity. Well, not my virginity, but, you know, his virginity. You know, you get the point. It was gross. The whole thing was gross. I'm like, did you really think this classy bitch was gonna do that? I don't think so. Ridiculous. It's so romantic. Not, obviously. I'm being sarcastic, but it's beyond me. Yeah, it really is. So, anyway, next week's story time will be the last one of the series, and it involves a paranormal entity. It's really scary, and I saved that for last. That actually happened this summer, so I've been saving that for months, so I can't wait to tell that story for you guys next week. That'll be the finale, and I saved the scariest story time for last, and that is the last one this month for scary time. Yeah, scary one. And then November we'll be back to the regular story times. But yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And until next time, mwah, happy Halloween. Kisses. As I move the camera. Bye, guys.